Hey there guys, BlackPanthaa here, welcome to another video, well kind of, because today's going to be the first episode of a new series or podcast. So basically we're going to be doing a podcast mainly aimed towards racing game news and kind of just discussions to do with gaming in general, but more to do with racing. But I'm actually joined by two people here for the podcast today, and they are Mr. Magnificent Media and Straight Up Hippo, other YouTubers, if you want to say hi.
Hello.
The podcast.
Yeah. So basically we're going to do an introduction for this episode and kind of talk about two games that we kind of missed out on in the podcast because we only just started, which are Driveclub and obviously Forza Horizon 2. But first things first, wanted to do introductions. So if you don't know me, I'm BlackPanthaa. I'm a racing YouTuber and I like old Need for Speeds. That's pretty much it. But yeah, I mainly play, as I said, racing games. Pretty much most of my collection is. And probably action adventure, I'd say, is one of my favourites. GTA Online. I play that a lot. Anyway.
Boo.
But yeah, if one of you two want to introduce yourselves now.
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Well, my name's Stray Pippo, or Cam. I'm also a racing YouTuber. I play basically everything, anything from Halo to Horizon to, Sonic Heroes. I literally play everything. And I like the old Need for Speeds. That's basically it.
Alright guys, I'm Mr. Magnificent Media. I have a pretty diverse channel. I do talk about gaming, but you won't actually find gameplay and stuff like that. Just usually vlogging and stuff. I'm into action adventure, also racing games, anything from Gran Turismo to Need for Speed. And again, I prefer the older Need for Speeds.
I think we all do, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be hard to prefer the new ones, to be honest. Some of the new ones, I guess, but especially not Rivals.
Was disappointing.
Rivals. I loved Carbon.
Carbon was way too short. The free roaming was pointless. The cops were pointless.
I bought it
so many things are wrong. But I bought it straight after Most Wanted, so I had very high expectations.
I didn't know it was going to be a sequel. At the time, I was like the clueless gamer that only had a PS2 and about 3 games. I didn't know what it was.
Back when I was like 6, I was PC Master Race. I'm not even going to lie. Yeah.
I know about Master Race. Huh?
I think the vibe is not, in Underground 1, 2, and Most Wanted, you had that vibe.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's just not there in Carbon.
Yeah.
I think, the kind of tuner muscle car and exotic, how they used to clash in Carbon and stuff, and they used to have kind of tension, I guess. I think that's coming back. I think, that's just like tuner culture and muscle car culture are coming back a bit more. I think we will see something, a bit more reminiscent of the old games, but yeah, that's not what we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about what we're here to do. So basically, we're going to be, mainly racing, mainly gaming. We're going to be talking about, racing game news. As Theo said before, we're going to be talking about, Horizon. We're going to be talking about Driveclub. We're going to talk about, all the new racing games, as well as some just general gaming as well. So, maybe if Theo decides to get, like Far Cry or something, we might talk about that for a bit. But generally, we're just kind of like a laid-back gaming podcast. Who talks about gaming news, and that's basically it.
Yeah. So as I said, as Hippo said, we're basically going to be talking about Horizon 2 and Driveclub today because they released before we started the podcast. So Driveclub mainly kind of released afterwards and has had, I don't know, I was thinking about this yesterday as well. It's had more hate than on Horizon 2, I guess. And I was thinking though, one of the reasons may be because, the PlayStation's selling more, and Driveclub actually outsold Horizon 2 2-1. So, it's going to have more, I guess, if you think about it. Even if it was a pretty much identical game. So,
the reason I think it was just hated more is just simply because it's a track-based racer and not an open-world racer.
Obviously, yeah, it's going to have that. But I mean,
I saw one review, and it was like, oh, this game's terrible, it hasn't even got an open world, and this and that. It's not supposed to have an open world. That's the whole fucking point, that really, really annoyed me. And I would say Driveclub is better made than Horizon 2, but I have more fun on Horizon 2, if that makes sense.
I know what you mean, yeah.
But Driveclub is still just as good, if not better, for what it's trying to do, I guess.
Anyway, we should kind of discuss what our thoughts on the games are. Now, I've played both of them quite a lot.
Same.
Not sure about you, Martin.
I've played Drive Club, but not Forza Horizon 2.
Right. Okay. So I guess I like both of them, obviously, for different reasons. And I think the best way I could say it is Horizon 2 is more fun, mess about, driving around open world kind of thing. Whereas I feel Drive Club, it's not. It has
more
less
serious
content, but I feel as if it's fine tuned much more, and it's more, as I say, competitive. It's more. I don't know. It's a different type of fun, but it is still fun. But once again, it is limited on content and such. So that's.
Exactly.
But it's not a terrible game in any sense. I just feel as if you can tell it's a launch title, basically. I'd say, and it should have been a launch title. I don't know what they've changed since the 11-month delay, except we're going to add weather in a patch in a month's time. Like, okay, if you added it in, then yeah, okay, I can understand. But yeah, I enjoyed both of them. I must say that I've been having more fun on Drive Club because I don't know. I always liked the competitive idea of games, and Drive Club makes me concentrate more when racing and such, whereas Horizon's, as I said, more mucking about and tuning stupid cars and such. So, what are your thoughts, Martin? So you?
I'll go first this time. Drive Club, again, not a bad game at all. I've actually made a video on this recently. It's called What Went Wrong with Drive Club, and I just feel like the game is a short-term game. Like, it's not going to last long, especially with what other competitors are offering. So, for example, you level up with the Drive Club point system, you rank up. Once you unlock all the cars, what is there to do after that?
Exactly.
And I also mentioned in the game, if you take away the visuals, not like, you should, but just put them aside for a second. And I just feel like the game is just not worth £50, $60.
No, it's not worth the price at all. I mean, I think it should have been a base plus game, and they just add things you can buy on extra. That would probably be a better way of going.
If you've got PS Plus, it's only £35. Is that right?
Yeah,
so that's like a £25 discount. I think it's worth it for £35, to be honest.
Yeah.
Then you're not getting the full game.
No, it's the plus upgrade. So that's what I got. It was $34.99 or something like that, and you actually just get the full game pretty much.
Okay, cool.
So, but still, like, it's still. They have a steelbook and it's like £65 in a shop, and it's like it's not worth that at all.
No, not at all.
Well, for me, I haven't been playing it as much as I want to, just because I've kind of been busy recently. But Drive Club has been absolutely amazing. Gameplay wise, even to the length of customization and kind of stuff it has for the type of game. It's trying to be a basic, a basic racer. It's not trying to be any more than that. I think it really does succeed in what it's trying to do. I don't think it's going to have any longevity. I think I'll play it for like maybe 2 or 3 months and I'll get bored, or maybe I'll go back when the DLC's on. But that's really about it. I don't think I'll be playing it too much. And then I don't know, like the reviews for me, like they were just completely wrong to what the actual game delivers.
They were missing the point.
Yeah, it seems like what Drive Club Drive Club is trying to be your basic racer where you can hop on, have some fun. It is pick up and play, but it's going to take a while to master at the same time. Because like if you do just genuinely hop on and just go on first time, you're going to notice it's hard to kind of drift cars. It's kind of hard to kind of just get used to the simple mechanics, and after a while you'll get used to it. You obviously get better. But after maybe like a few days of playing it, you'll have it under your belt, sort of thing. It is genuinely a casual track-based racer. It is as casual as they come. And I'm pretty sure maybe last year they said they were going to tone the game down to welcome newcomers. I'm still wondering, if they didn't tone it down, would it be a better or worse game? Like, if it was more attracted to the hardcore market, more Forza-based, basically, obviously without the tuning and stuff, would it be a better game just because, like, it does attract the long-term audience sort of thing?
That's what I was thinking. When I played it at Eurogamer 2013, that's when it was about to come out for the actual release of the PS4.
Yeah.
And when I played it, the handling model was completely different to what it is now. I was driving the SLS, and I can't remember exactly how it was, but it was much more the kind of the feeling of the cars was much more delayed, as it should be. Like, you turn and then you feel the back slide in kind of thing. and it felt like you had to really, really plan ahead before you went into a corner or something, and it felt very, on like this current build of the game, if you hit the wall, it kind of just bounces you back and you carry on driving as you were. You don't lose any speed. Whereas on that, if you hit the wall, it would slow you down. Like, yeah, it was much more punishing, and it seemed like it was aimed more towards the people that want a hardcore racing game.
The final game, like the actual final game that's been shipped, it seems unorganic, if you know what I mean. Like when you go into corners, that's nothing how a car, like when you're drifting, that's nothing how a car would feel like in real life. You don't just press circle and drift. Like that just doesn't happen. When I went to Eurogamer, I played the PAX demo, and it was worse than that. It was so much, like you went to a corner, you could probably do L2, R2 and just drift. Like it was terrible. And that they have made it a bit more like competitive, I guess. Like I did play the PAX demo, so that's probably like pretty old now. But they have changed it a lot, and you can tell that like from the full game, they've made it both easier and harder in different ways, and I guess that is a good and bad thing at the same time.
I was thinking though, they've kind of marketed it the wrong way.
That's exactly it.
Yeah,
that's why I've been so silent, waiting to say.
Yeah, do you want to say?
Go for it.
Yeah, go on. I'll let you go on, then I'll say.
Okay, so I was thinking like, at the beginning, they kind of came out like it was saying, "Oh, it's got so many details. We've got the stitches in the seats and everything like this." And it's like, this should be a Gran Turismo, like with this amount of detail and stuff. And you'd think, "Oh, this is going to be a hardcore, full-on simulation game with real track locations," and they're not. They're made-up locations, which it's fair enough. They're good locations, a lot of them, and they're very varied from each other. But then it's kind of got the very basic handling model in where it's literally accelerate, brake, turn, which it can be difficult at times, and it can feel amazing because of how the camera moves and such. But if you give the controller to someone, they can easily still do as good as you because the walls don't slow you down, and they can cut the track a bit here. And
then on top of that, you've got no assists, you've got no driving line, you've got no tuning, all this kind of stuff that is basically it's standard in hardcore racing games nowadays.
It's kind of lost, basically.
I don't think it knows what it wants to be. I think it is just lost.
Yeah, exactly. I do think it's been a convoluted concept, Driveclub, because I always look at their previous games from Evolution Studios. That's MotorStorm Apocalypse, Pacific Rim, and of course the original MotorStorm. And I'm just wondering why they didn't do a game that's similar to that type of style.
We want MotorStorm, like, what is it, 4 now? I want that game. MotorStorm was sick. MotorStorm was so good, and then they just went ahead and made this.
I just imagine MotorStorm, let's say MotorStorm 4, licensed cars, same graphics, but more of a MotorStorm feeling to it. That would be so amazing.
Yeah, I know. That would actually be pretty good.
And that would have made sense as well, because imagine MotorStorm open world, and then you had Horizon coming out at the same time. That would have done so like that would have been so competitive. And you could actually compare. Like now, for me personally, anyway, I can't compare Driveclub and Horizon 2 because they're there for two completely different purposes. Driveclub is obviously there to be a bit more competitive, to be a bit more serious. Then Horizon 2 is there, to have the best summer of your life and all this bullshit. Like. They're too, like, you can't compare an open world and a track-based racer for me. It just doesn't happen. You can't do it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, in a sense you can, because the basics is a racing game. But obviously it depends on person to person. Some people prefer track race, some people prefer open world.
It's like comparing Halo to Arma.
I guess.
Yeah,
I understand what you mean there. Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess we should talk about Horizon 2 for a bit.
Halfway through the podcast and we haven't even talked about it yet.
Yeah,
let's go for it. Should I start? Because
you can start with your thoughts on it, because I know you were this was your most hyped game this year at the beginning.
Well, it was.
So I'd like to hear what you.
I got the game first weekend.
How you kind of changed, I guess.
First weekend, I was very happy. I was enjoying it. Then I got to the showcase event when you had to race with the Ferrari, and I was like, "Oh, this is sick!" And then you finish the showcase event, and I was like, "Surely you can't win a Ferrari so early on." And keep in mind, this is like 10 races in, if that. You win the Ferrari, and I'm like, "Well, what the hell just happened? Like, are you not going to make me grind for this Ferrari, or no?" And so
Sorry, it's about the 430 where he says you get to keep it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
yeah.
that one. Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Yes.
so after I actually said that, I was expecting every showcase event to get a new car from doing showcases, but you only get that one car, and I'm like,
No, you get all of them.
I only got one of them.
You get the Lancia. Yeah, yeah, and then you get.
Oh yeah, you get the Lancia, but you don't get all the cars in the showcase events. I swear in the first you haven't beat it.
I'll explain in a minute.
Okay.
You can go first. You can go first.
No, you carry on.
Okay. So I got this Ferrari and I was thinking, well, what does this mean? And then he was like, oh, we're going to go on a road trip. And I was like, oh, yes. So I was driving along. And then you get to the hub and you see, it tells you, oh, you can switch cars, you can do this, do that. And at the time, I had made an RX-8. So I wanted to go in the RX-8. And then I found out all the championships are open immediately. There was literally no grind.
Yeah.
If you got a car, and I had Forza rewards, so I had the Huracan like straight off the bat. So I was like, well, I want to drive this Huracan. Literally, you shouldn't be able to drive that Huracan quite literally 2 hours after you've played the game. That is not progression. That's like Most Wanted 2012 level progression. That is just nothing there. I was annoyed. Like I was expecting to grind to get a Ferrari after maybe like a day or two's worth of playing. Not like where the crew is literally going to take a week, or like Need for Speed World where it's going to take a month. But like take at least a day to get that Ferrari. No, they gave it to me instantly. Then just me not having enough time and not really having I do want to play the game, but it's not to the point where I'll miss hygiene to play the game. You know what I mean? Like when the crew beta was out, I would miss having my morning shower to come down and play. Like that was something that I would do. Not for Horizon, I don't think. Not like it's great. It's a great game, 7 out of 10, and that's not bad. I think reviewers generally, and just the public generally, take a 7 out of 10 as a really bad game. That's obviously not the case.
Yeah, that's something we're going to talk about in the future.
Horizon 2 and Driveclub are both 7 out of 10s for me, but Horizon, it didn't have that wow factor I was expecting it to have. I was expecting it to like, oh my god, I'm constantly being rewarded. I'm constantly doing this, I'm doing that, and I think that's just something from games generally that have been missed. Even in the crew, you were given parts constantly, but it didn't feel like it had any worth. Like, well, at least in the beta anyway. And I feel in Horizon, you literally get thrown Ferraris every few minutes, and it annoys me because you shouldn't feel like that. I wish games could go back to the days, back when Underground 2 Most Wanted, where it actually took a while to get a nice car. Like I remember for Most Wanted, you weren't getting a Gallardo till like Blacklist number 5.
Yeah.
And that was like literally near the end of the game. And those were the only supercars that were really in the game was when, you got to Blacklist number 5 and beyond. I don't know, I'm digressing. Basically, Horizon 2 was missing that wow factor for me. Plus the progression. And the online wasn't really cutting it. Like, I was expecting a lot more from the online. Kind of similar to how Burnout does their online with Paradise and obviously Most Wanted. Yeah. It just didn't have that wow factor for me, and I guess that was missing. But it's still a solid 7 out of 10. I really do enjoy the game.
One thing on the multiplayer before I forget. They were advertising online road trips. And if you don't know what these are basically, you pause the game, you press online road trip, and you're supposed to kind of be where you were last time when you're on the single player. And you're kind of driving down the road still, and it would set a route to where people are driving towards, so like an event or something.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a really cool idea. It's like Most Wanted 2012's multiplaer, but worth playing.
The meetup.
Yeah. So, so
I never even got to the multiplayer in that game. I played 5 minutes. Well, I got it completely legally. Obviously didn't do any of that stuff. And then I played 5 minutes. I got a Gallardo, got bored.
Yeah. So see, my idea was you go online by pressing the button. You get to the location. You do the race. You go to the next one. Go to the next one. That kind of thing. And you'd be able to drop out at any time you want and kind of continue with what you were doing. But unfortunately, it didn't have that. It was like four set events, and then there was about tons of loading, and it's like I felt this was another one of those next gen advertisements gone wrong, whereas like Destiny, everyone thought it was going to be some massive open world thing.
Let's not talk about Destiny. Oh my Jesus Christ, what a waste of 50 quid.
Some massive open world, like there's no invisible walls, anything like this, and there were, and there's lots of loading, and I was expecting
in Destiny, I still don't know what the story was. Like there was no story in that game. You went to like the Cosmodrome or something. That's all. The only thing I remember was you need to sacrifice the power of the Cosmodrome, and that's the only phrase I remember from that game. So bad. It was so bad. I haven't touched that in quite literally a month since it came out.
at the end, it was one of those, oh, this is just the beginning.
You
And
finished? Have you finished the game? I didn't get past the 6th level.
I finished. She's like, this is just the beginning, and then it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be DLC, isn't it?
DLC, prequels, sequels, everything. It's just all coming out.
Yeah.
Next thing we're going to be seeing, you know, Destiny cosplay soon. A complete, just dedicated event like Minecraft, where you just all the Destiny players getting together, dressing as their favorite characters. You know, we're going to be seeing that soon. I guarantee.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that reminds me. Now that you just mentioned DLC, sorry, do you want to continue?
No, so you can carry on. It's fine.
Yeah, now that you mentioned DLC, I just remember that Driveclub doesn't really have a varied selection of cars, and obviously
Yeah.
DLC is coming to rectify that. How do you feel about that?
Right. So there was one American car in Driveclub, which is the Hennessy Venom, which dominates everything else on the game.
There
Right?
wasn't one Japanese car, was there?
Still consider that a Lotus to me.
Yeah. My two favorite cars are the Hennessy Venom and the P1 on that game. But I would love to see.
Sorry, just remember your reaction, man.
Oh, I had so much fun in that P1. I can't, right, honestly, it's a handful to drive, and that makes it so much more fun. Like, you're pressing like 4 different buttons when you're going into a corner, and then coming out of the corner you're pressing low, and it's like the car's shaking around and you're losing traction. It's just, oh, it's the most like intense racing experience ever in that car. But yeah, anyway, onto the DLC. So the DLC, I'm really, really hoping that they're going to add some different cars in. They've hinted that they're going to add, like, you know, different cars in, but I would really like to see, obviously, some Japanese cars in there and some American cars, because
I don't think I've seen one car in that game that is, you know, from like the 2000s or prior. Like all of them
they're
are
all
brand
kind
new.
of new
Yeah,
types of...
not even 2000, like
exotic
2010.
cars.
Like,
Yeah.
backwards. And no Japanese cars, no tuners or anything. I don't believe there's like you said, there's only the Hennessy Venom, so no Camaros, no Dodge, you know, Challengers, Vipers, whatever. The car choice was very disappointing. I thought I was going to be able to drive an RX-8. That's not the case.
What I was thinking though is because the American cars, we know all they're all heavy and such. I'm thinking like, will that have like a completely different handling model to? Well, not completely different, but you know what I mean? It'll feel much different to what we've got already.
You know,
Because I mean, that would add something more for me to experience again, kind of thing. That would be pretty cool. And obviously, when we get the one of the most amazing cars in the world, the GTR. That thing's like amazing at handling, acceleration.
one of the most amazing
everything.
in the world.
Yeah, honestly, because
Are you being serious?
That thing launches better than anything else.
God, what's
that
wrong
thing
with
has
you?
the best handling out of anything else. Like,
So you don't like the Huracan, but you like the GTR?
yeah.
Why do you like her?
No, I don't mind
you.
I don't mind the Huracan. It's not a bad car. It's just it looks a bit odd to me after looking at the
I
Gallardo
agree,
for so long.
I agree.
But yeah,
And the fact that they're cancelling out the Gallardo.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, I hope they add, you know, as I said, the GTR.
Can I ask one off-topic question to both of you?
Yeah, go on then.
Favorite car? Favorite 3 cars of the moment.
Oh, you're playing me here.
I'll say mine so you guys can think of
Okay.
yours. Definitely the M4. I absolutely love Beamers. I just absolutely love BMWs. I absolutely love them to pieces. M4 is up there. I would say the Huracan as well. And the Murcielago, like the 04 Murcielago, that was insane. That car is my favourite car of all time. Easy.
Do they have to be new cars?
No.
Okay. So 2 of mine that I can think of off the top of my head, SLS and the
no.
69 Camaro.
I knew you were going to say them 2 cars.
How could I not? And honestly, I'd say the P1.
P1
I'd
is
say the
nice.
P1.
I would rather have a 918 though. I don't know, just it's German. Like, Germans make the best cars. It's just it's a common known fact.
But it's also Porsche.
Porsche. I can't say anything about Porsche. I like Porsches. you mean a
man,
rough?
man.
You mean a rough?
Yeah.
Are you?
Oh, Lord knows why EA haven't sold that license yet. I mean, they could make so much, so much.
I'm just wondering how long that lasts for.
Yeah, it must have a kind of time limit on it.
Well, it was Porsche. Was it Porsche Unleashed, the Need for Speed game that they had the first one on?
Yeah, that'll probably be it then. That's probably when they started it.
Yeah, so they probably had it for a while then.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 30 years now.
30 years.
But my favorite cars are, boy, number 1, no one's taking a spot for now. It's got to be the Lamborghini Aventador.
Yeah, I love that
I
thing as
just
well.
I just don't.
Too many
It's
corners.
just exactly just so sharp, but
Yeah, I
sexy at the
love
same
that.
time.
I don't like it. Ugh.
Second one has got to be the McLaren P1. As Theo said, it has to be in orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Black can do as a secondary color.
Yeah.
Number three, very hard to pick, but I'm gonna have to say the Corvette C7 because that car really, really impressed me.
Yeah, I really like that as
I
well.
wasn't expecting that, to be honest, but yeah, I actually do like the C7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do, like, there's some cars which you have to get specific colours, like a Ferrari red, Lambo probably like a yellowy orange,
Orange,
depending
yellow,
like eventually
Yeah.
you got to get orange.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then Beamers you can get them like any colour, but definitely the P1 is you have to get it in that kind of like orangey colour.
That burnt
Yeah,
orange,
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Playing with the Aventador and Most Wanted 2012 in that mustard yellow made me sick. Oh, it was like just injustice to the car.
Do you guys remember Taz's car from Most Wanted, the Lexus? That was like
Yeah.
really, really dark brown.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What were the designers thinking when they made that car? They were thinking, well, we've got this Lexus, let's just make it brown. Like, really, what were they thinking? That car was the ugliest thing ever made. If I got that, like, with the tokens at the end, I think I would be pretty disappointed with life. Like, that car was terrible.
I like the stacked exhauster.
Yeah.
Yeah. The body kit was nice, but the visuals on that shit. Oh my god, I can't even think straight. They were that bad.
Okay. One thing actually, because we were talking about DLC. Horizon 2. One thing that really, really wound me up.
DLC.
Oh, they released DLC about a week after the game came out. And
Boy,
it
I've got
didn't
a few
even
things to
work
say
for
about
like
this.
the full day. They had to update the game to get it to work properly. Like, you could tell it was already in the game. Like, and what annoyed me is the fact that they were charging, obviously, for this DLC, or you have to have the car pass or whatever. It was a week after release, and they had one decent car and a load of rubbish in the pack as well, to kind of make it say, oh yeah, this is worth the money. It just annoyed me so much that... Why would they choose a week after launch to release DLC? Why? That just makes them seem like they've taken it from the game, because you don't produce 5 cars or whatever it was in less than a week.
There's definitely more stuff on that disc. I can guarantee it.
Yeah, definitely.
I can guarantee
all the cars are probably on there from the get-go, but they're just locked away.
I mean, everything, even like the pre-order bonuses. Like usually, if you pre-order from say Amazon, they have an like okay, so say let me take another thing. Okay, the Crew, you get a mini pre-order pack, but for Forza Horizon 2, it's the car changes depending on where you pre-order it from. Was that right?
Yeah.
So if you pre-order on Amazon, you get like an M6. Then if you go from game, you get like a California. Just that right there, the fact that they are giving different cars to different pre-order bonuses proves that there's gonna be a lot more cars on that disc. Just because they just wouldn't just do that. Like they wouldn't just do that on purpose.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot more content on that disc that we don't know about. On this DLC, it's kind of DLC generally like over the past few years, as you know, games have evolved and obviously the digital market's involved. It kind of seems like developers are kind of ripping us. Well, not even developers, like publishers as well. They're just kind of like ripping us off on purpose because they'll know we're gonna buy it and we can't really do much about it. Like
That's exactly it.
with the Xbox DRM and stuff, we could do stuff about that. We could air our opinions, but just for DLC, for add-on DLC, there is literally nothing we can do. Like we don't have a voice in this situation.
It's like
because
in
it's already
Destiny,
happening.
the expansions that they're releasing in a month or so.
The code was found in the disc.
Yeah, there was like a way for them to literally just go on the map and see that the expansion is there on the map. They can select.
They could play it.
It's like, and what's annoying is if someone were like that. There's no one that can kind of do that with the racing games because we're such a small community. But I bet if you did, there would be like 1 million extra cars on
unreleased cars.
Yeah,
I'm guaranteed
on
unreleased
Forza
cars
5.
on that disc.
On Forza 5, there'll be like 300 more cars, and they've just left them on there. They just they thought, oh, what could we use for DLC? We'll just keep them on there anyway.
What happened to the days where we actually paid for a full game?
Yeah, and what happened to the days where we'd kind of complete the game and we'd find out, little secrets and unlock cars and do cheat codes to unlock certain things like San Andreas.
I can answer the cheat codes thing. You have to pay for them now.
Yeah.
You have to pay for them, usually like for GTA back in the day, you could do money codes and all that jazz. Now if you want to do that, it has to be online in terms of shark points, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
or shark dollars or whatever it is. I don't play with GTA anymore, but it's just everything. Like with bypass packs and all that kind of stuff. Those have replaced cheat codes. That's why we never see them now. Is because if you want to bypass the game, instead of getting loads of money and just easily winning the races with like big cars, you have to buy the bypass pack or whatever it is. Because I know Need for Speed did that.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got quite a bit off the topic of
I was enjoying that actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back to that topic. Just mentioning that, and even in Most Wanted, after you complete the main story, there's like this really meaty challenge series.
Yeah.
Black Box challenge series were amazing.
And if you typed in Burger King at the start menu, you got the hidden event. I don't know how anyone found that.
Now it's like
how would you find that?
Now it's like pre-order from Burger King to get this exclusive. Yeah. It's like, no, pre-order the next Need for Speed from Burger King.
I mean, then you drive a flipping cement truck in that series.
Yeah.
Like,
man, pre-order from Burger King, you get a free cement truck and a free Whopper as well. We'll put that in there.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we were talking about.
No, I just remember it was something about Driveclub and Horizon 2. But
was it about
I guess we could kind of say, yeah, it was about the reviews, wasn't it? I guess we could basically just say our final thoughts on those two games, because
I think it's too early for me to make final thoughts on either, to be honest. The game.
Well, actually, that's a good point. To be honest, I shouldn't have said that, because I can't say final thoughts about Driveclub, unlike some reviewers, because the game doesn't work properly yet.
It does now, doesn't it?
It does,
sure it is.
But it doesn't have all the features enabled, so people can get online, like more people can get online. That's what I don't get. They've disabled the challenges such as, the pop-up on the road saying, beat this sector, to beat everybody on your friends list. They've turned those off. They've got the ones built into the game, but not with your friends, which to me is a huge part for that. It's like the crew in a way, whereas you got these skill challenges planted everywhere, and if nobody had done them before, there'd be no point to keep trying them. And to me, that's like something that kept me going back to doing those challenges on the crew. If somebody beated me, I'd try my best to keep going and going and going to beat them.
So
I'm going to do the same in Driveclub. But that's not in the game at the moment, so you're not reviewing Driveclub, you're reviewing part of Driveclub.
Yeah, you know what's sad? The crew beta, the beta, had a smoother of a start than Driveclub's launch.
To be totally fair, like if you look at what numbers they hit with the crew beta, I think it was like, it wasn't very big because it was only on PC originally, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then they had a small closed console beta. They managed to push to the servers to the point where it's like nobody else could get on. You had to have waiting lines and that sort of thing. And it can't have been like 1 million people like day one trying to connect like Driveclub would have been, or like 500,000 that Horizon 2 would have been. But one thing I hate is Horizon 2 had server issues, but no scores were reduced. For the first 2 or 3 or 4 days, I couldn't download people's, liveries. I couldn't download people's, tunes. I couldn't do any of that. And I couldn't go online in a session. Yeah, I noticed that you lost connection there. But
it looks like you got something you're recording.
But yeah, it's just... It's annoying that it feels as if, I don't know, because it's Microsoft and maybe they've paid, I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It just makes sense, doesn't it? Because they both had issues, but one gets the score reduced and one gets bad reviews out of the gate, and, Whereas GTA, that went through flawlessly.
I think before you buy a game, you need to play it for yourself. I'm not sure if renting things is still a thing, but rent it. Play it at a friend's house, something like that.
I think with Driveclub, the thing is, it really has disappointed a lot of people. I mean, it's the hype and what they sold to us visually on stage and stuff. It's just not what we have on the disc, and
even that had DLC issues, like launch DLC issues. Like we couldn't download any of the launch pre-order DLC. Like I couldn't download it till a few days ago. The McLaren, is it 12C, SLS, and then there's a few other things on there. It's a bit of a joke, but you would think they had all this kind of stuff ironed out before launch. After the game being in development for so long, and obviously all the delays. Yeah, but I guess we can't really do much about it.
I have one last question regarding DLC and Drive Club,
Yeah.
and this also goes out to the viewers. Okay, so as you know, the car selection is mostly European cars, and DLC has to come at some point. Okay, here's the thing. They will do a muscle pack and a tuner pack, but should that be paid DLC, or how do I put this? Like, how much would you be willing to pay for a pack that consists of cars that probably should already be in the game?
Thing to put in there. Did you see the kind of release schedule for the season pass that they did?
Yeah.
They're actually releasing, I think it's 9 free cars.
Free, okay.
So
That's
my
good.
guess is it's gonna have. I think it's like 36 paid and 9 free. So my guess is it's gonna be like 1 from each pack or something like that, or 2 from each pack, and that'll kind of give you probably the worst car in the pack.
Yeah.
but you know, I'm hoping that, as you said, there's going to be kind of muscle cars and that sort of thing. But they said in total for the next 6 months, the DLC is going to cost €75 or something. And if you get the season pass, it's like £20 or something. So it's not terrible.
Yeah, that's not.
Whereas if you got kind of events with it, I think there's 176 events. You get loads of liveries, and whereas if you compare that to Forza 5's DLC, you got
And
a
Horizon
VIP
2.
pass. Horizon 2's not as bad because it wasn't £40 for the car DLC.
Still a rip-off, though.
40...
I mean, when all the content's on the disc, in the end of the day...
Yeah, but I mean, £40 for some cars over the next couple of years, like, the next couple of years, couple of months. And then they had a VIP pass on top of that.
Which
And
did
it's
nothing.
it's wow.
I honestly can't see him adding any like like obviously they'll add like a GTR, the LFA, and that kind of stuff. But I can't see them adding an RX-8 or like a 370Z or not like completely like tuned cars like a Supra or anything, like nothing like that. But just kind of like the sports cars like the 350 and the RX-8. I can't see him adding anything like that. Nor can I see him adding a Camaro.
I don't see them adding
see
old things. New cars definitely, like the new Camaro, the new Challenger,
Hellcat. It's got to be the Hellcat.
Exactly. Those type of cars I can see, but old cars I can't see at all. Like as you said, the RX-7, the Supra.
What 3 cars would you want in there? Like if you could pick any.
That's a good question.
Oh.
You should ask people down below as well.
That's realistic, and I guess this goes out to everyone. Realistically, 3 cars which you'd want.
So the GTR is definitely one for me, easily. It has to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Camaro. I can't really think, to be honest, because most of my favourite cars are the older versions of cars. But I wouldn't mind driving completely different cars, kind of thing. Like, as I said, the GTR, Camaro, and something different. I'm not sure.
What about you, Martin? You got 3?
My blood pressure goes really high when I have to pick a favorite car or something. But... I mean, first of all, why aren't there? Oh yeah, please do.
I would say number 1, definitely a Murcielago or just some Lambo, because I don't think there's actually one Lambo in the game.
That's actually I forgot about that completely.
Not one Lambo, so definitely just any Lambo, maybe 2. I'd say definitely secondly, just pop. Is the M4 isn't in the game, is it? I don't think it is.
I think it is.
Is it? I know the M5's in the game, but I don't think the M4's in the game.
Then.
So having a 4 Series would be good. And then I don't know for a third one, maybe like they've already got the A class and the C class, and I really like those cars. I would say maybe, I don't know. I think the third one's quite a hard choice, actually.
It is. It's quite hard when you're limited to newer cars only.
I do like a bit myself of a GTR, to be honest, but I don't think that would be in my top 3.
Really?
No, because there's just something about a GT. It's all plasticky and
What?
Plasticky? It's
a
amazing.
GTR is like a super tacky. It's like a super tacky sort of sports car. Supercar even. It's like
I just look at it as a wide body, the R34.
Oh, I'm just thinking of the normal one, and it's the plastic. It's the most. If you're thinking of a supercar, that's the lowest supercar you're gonna get. That just makes it into the supercar brand.
No.
Yes.
I would put this. I would put it at the top of the 458 of everything.
I think the GTR deserves all its respect and cred.
Definitely.
And it looks like a sturdy vehicle.
Have you ever seen the inside of one? Like, have you been in like near one?
What you have to consider though is this thing is cheaper by like a mile than all of the other supercars, and it can dominate all of them.
You can tell why though, because the interior and
launch. Its interior is fine.
Have you sat in one?
No, I haven't sat in one, but I did in Driveclub. Driveclub in Horizon 2.
I've sat in one in Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
No. In all seriousness, I have actually seen one in real life, and I've looked through the window, and everything it just looks so plasticky and so tacky. Like say with a Porsche or a Lambo, everything's leathered out. Everything's it doesn't seem flimsy, but the GTR it just does. I don't know. Maybe that's something you have to see in real life to understand, but. That's just me. I don't know.
You're probably the only person ever to dislike the GTR.
No. I don't dislike it. But I would say if you're going to pick a supercar, it's definitely nowhere near the top.
That would be my first choice, I think. That would be my first choice.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yeah, I'm
you've
gonna
got
have to
plenty of
say
time now.
a GTR from Japan, definitely. It's quite a relevant car from Japan. Lamborghini Aventador, arguably the most relevant Lamborghini right now, and the Corvette C7. Pretty much the same as my previous, but yeah, it just fits into Driveclub if you ask me.
Yeah. Before I started today, I asked on Twitter a few people like if they got anything they want to mention, and somebody said. What's your favorite point-to-point tracks in the game? Now I don't know the names of these tracks at all because they're all made up. They don't kind of stick. But I would say just to kind of spin off and be able to answer that question, I would say point-to-points are my favorite type of race in the game. Like on any location.
Yeah.
Like I prefer the feel of point-to-points. I always did. If you go back to even Juiced and Need for Speed Underground and Most Wanted, such point-to-points or time trial kind of races are my favourite easily. I was wondering what you guys, if you prefer like circuit or...
To be honest, I'm having quite a lot of fun on the drift events.
Yeah.
And then point-to-point as well. I think sprint races generally have always been my favourite event, if that makes sense. Like, ever since, like even like Hot Pursuit 2, like I've always had a preference for it. My favourite point-to-point track is either the one in Scotland or the one in Norway. The one in Norway with those tunnels and oh my god, it's so
that is
yeah, it's quality.
Oh, those colours as well, the orange and blue.
Yeah.
Like if that actually happens in Norway, I want to go there and drive a car through those tunnels because it's just so cool.
I should probably mention this was by Jesse Young, so he's not just like why didn't you mention me?
At RX Pizza YT. Hey.
But I'm a sprint guy as well. I wouldn't say I hate circuit, but I just feel like it needs to have some kind of, how do I say, dynamic to it. So, for example, in MotorStorm Apocalypse, everything changed on each lap, or
that I liked a lot.
Yeah, or even in Underground. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought I saw a gap. I can't remember where the actual description was, but someone was describing a circuit race. It had a sprint race as well. And sprint race was a simple A to B. That was literally just a description. And then for a circuit race, it was longer events, because obviously longer, you're gonna get a tad bit more, bored, I guess, of longer events, if you know what I mean. It's just longer events around a set track, and that's right there. Just the description itself, it kind of seems a bit, not as fun, if you know what I mean. Like,
well, like even if point-to-point sprint, whatever races are quite long, because you it's completely different area each time you're driving. It's fresh.
Like you're not passing the same thing twice.
And it's more about traveling. I'd say more one direction rather than keep going around in the same circle over and over kind of thing. But I mean, at the same time, circuit's got its own point. I mean, whatever the next lap you're going to do better because you know where that was and you know where this was and you know how to save time here. But I'd say overall I prefer point-to-point races. Probably mainly from Juiced. That was
on that note, do you know what I miss?
What do you miss?
I completely miss lap knockout.
Oh, why is no game?
Why have we not talked about this?
No, I know, right? Like, just the intensity of possibly being locked out on that last lap.
Now that was a circuit race I would want to play.
Yeah, definitely. There's something else to keep in mind while doing it, and it's definitely brilliant.
Like if you come into the last corner and then you just span out and you're like, no!
Yeah.
I've just spent 6 minutes doing this and now I'm just, no!
You just see it in, like, manual on Driveclub when you spin out, even if it's like not a lap knockout, it's still like the same thing. People are about to overtake you. You're spamming to change down gears and you've got to power, I
think the reason why we don't see many of these anymore is just because we have more AI. And you can't really do a lap knockout for 16 races, really, without it being a bit messy. Unless, like, 6 were going at a time or something like that, you know, like in groups.
I think it's more of a thing to stop people raging. Because, you know, gamers have become a lot younger and they're becoming...
You think? You think?
Yeah. It's the whole thing, like, games are becoming easier, isn't it? Like, if you do a long lap knockout race, it's probably in conjunction with your more AI thing. If you do a long race and then all of a sudden, last, you know, corner, you really, you know, enrage the player, he's not going to want to play anymore. She's not going to want to play anymore. It's that kind of thing. Like,
makes me laugh.
Yeah, it aggravates me and it makes me want to try harder. But that's mainly for us. But at the same time, they want to kind of keep people that don't necessarily love racing games as much as we do, and kind of keep them on, bring them on. And if there's a race that annoys, like, I don't know, Ali A, all of his COD followers are going to completely avoid that game.
I
it's...
remember a quote, and it was about a COD game, but it still, you know, applies to this. If you don't rage at a COD, it's not good. If you don't rage at a racing game, it's not good because it doesn't have that challenge to it. I think that still applies here.
Yeah, but I mean, I would definitely prefer the rage to be there, but I think they're trying, because as I said, I've said with Need for Speed, they're trying to make it very family friendly. You go into it and it's very simple, very it's very, it doesn't penalize you for doing, you know, making mistakes and these crashes, and they keep you going at high speed once you finish the crash, and it's to babyfy it, make it so you don't enrage the player. But
I noticed that
from Ivory was saying, I was actually speaking to somebody about it, and they were saying how having that that kind of causing them to rage makes it better for the person that's very competitive. Say, for example, they were suggesting pink slip races in the game.
Oh my god, please
so
do
imagine,
that.
Yeah,
please
so imagine losing your car. A normal person would just cry and quit the game, whereas us, we would try our best to take that car back, obviously. You know, take their car along with it. You know, wager matches along with having...
We haven't seen that since Juiced. We haven't seen that since Juiced. Oh my god, that would be so good.
That's kind of like...
In Ivory we trust.
Brilliant.
In Ivory we trust. They will make an outstanding game. I've had my doubts, but they will make an outstanding game. If they actually do put that in a patch later on down the line with pink slip races, damn, that would make for some good videos.
That would add a lot to the game,
It definitely would.
They need to do that to GTA as well. That would actually give me a reason to play GTA if they did pink slip races.
That would be good, yeah.
I'm sure there'd be an exploit or something there that would stop it.
Yeah, you know what? That would actually be good, because one thing I hate about GTA is, like, you destroy their car and then, oh, I've got insurance, so actually stealing their car would be...
Someone blows up your car, you're like, you want a pink slip? and then we'll see, mate.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Another thing from Twitter was it's from Daz. Out of all the hot hatch cars in the game, this is about Driveclub.
Yep.
Which is the most fun to drive and why? Now, I would say all of them are quite fun. I actually went into the game thinking that hot hatches were going to be very slow, boring, because in most games, Need for Speeds, in Horizon 2, you start off in some amazing exotic car and you're like, this is brilliant. And then you get put into smaller cars and you're like, right, you've got to earn your way towards that, or you lose that car in most ones.
In Horizon 2, it's literally 5 minutes, then you get a Ferrari. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You know, but you know what I mean? Like, they tease you with the good cars to make you go, wow, I want this. And Test Drive is another one that did it. But in Driveclub, they throw you straight into a Mini. And I'd say that is the most fun I've ever had in a Mini before in a game ever. Like, the sense of speed and the way the camera shakes and the way, you know, the player actually moves when there's bumps in the road, and it does a lot of that stuff right. But I would say easily overall the Audi A1 Quattro is my favourite, because it's all-wheel drive.
Oh, I'm pretty sure the A-Class is four-wheel drive as well.
It's just kind of very snappy and small, and I don't like the look of it, but it's probably my most fun to drive.
Yeah, the rims on that thing are just ugh.
Yeah.
But my favourite is easily the A-Class. I like the look of it. I just like everything. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, the A150 is a very pretty car, but for me, between the
I do like a Mini as well, to be honest, but an A-Class takes it for me.
Like I said, I haven't played much Driveclub, but I think I'm gonna have to go with the VW Beetle, because in general I don't really look at those cars, but that one somehow impresses me visually and from what I was feeling in the game.
I haven't actually driven that car yet.
Visually?
Give it a try.
Visually? A Beetle?
I guarantee you will like the interior at least.
To be fair, like German interior generally it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I spend most of my time in the interior of you anyway, so.
So don't kill me.
Yeah.
Should we end it? We've been going for quite a while.
I've got one more here, and this is a short one from Racer Best. How fast do you want to go?
How fast do you want to go?
Thankfully, that song doesn't play as much as I thought it would.
Oh,
and I swear, they've like every time they've shown the game, there's about 4 or 5 different versions
we've got
of
the original
that
mix,
song.
then we've got the Skrillex mix, then we've got the Pendulum mix.
Yeah.
There's like 10. Like, have you not got any of the songs for your soundtrack?
I guess one way to link it in again with the whole not sure way it should be marketed sort of thing, because it's kind of a more casual racing game, as we've said. The music is disabled in the menu. That's a hardcore thing, isn't it? Like only we would want to hear the engine.
I think that's just to hide the fact they've only got 6 songs on the soundtrack.
Yeah, it might be. But yeah, I guess we should end it here. It's been on quite a while. But it was the first episode, so it's probably going to be longer than any other because it had the introduction and stuff. But yeah. To wrap it up, basically, both games are good. Horizon 2 and Driveclub. I see myself playing Horizon 2 for longer because of the the DLC that's coming. It's open world. I can say, right, I'm on the game, in the mood for the game. Let's just make a certain car and go to this car meet.
There's just more to do, I guess, in Horizon 2.
And then with Driveclub, I see myself jumping on it every now and again. It's kind of like, to me, I want to say this, but it sounds insulting at the same time. It's like COD, right? Because it's competitive fun. People play that game because like there's a certain type of person that likes that game that's very competitive, and I feel Driveclub's kind of going that route more so than like, hey, this is fun. You can go off road and not slow down, and But
yeah, it's like competitive, but it's not. It doesn't. I know. I want to say it. I'm not sure whether it's the right way of saying it. It's competitive, but it doesn't take like a lot of skill. If you know what I mean.
It's competitive, but only if you're the type of person that's like really flawless. You do amazingly better than somebody that's just jumped on the game, because as I said, the barriers let you kind of.
The skill gap isn't that big.
Yeah. I guess that's good and bad in a sense. Like I'd prefer to be an ability to turn that off, such as like catch up in GTA, and turning the drafting off in GTA, and anything like that in GTA. in general games, like you can turn catch up off and you can turn collisions off, and that sort of thing. Whereas Driveclub needs to turn collisions off. Online.
Yeah, online is just...
I haven't even spoken about that yet because
next car again.
Yeah,
it's something else.
Yeah, it's both games are good, but I see myself playing more Horizon 2 in the long run, I'd say.
I swear that was the longest outro. Should we just end it straight here then?
We should, because I got a lot of stuff coming back to mind, so yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so if you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit the like, subscribe on all of our channels. All links will be down in the description below for more up to speed. Obviously, this is episode 1. We may have guests in the future. Who knows? If maybe you're interested into this, tweet one of us. We're all available. And yeah, I guess we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
See ya.
Peace out.